genre. Back to The Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who The Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
I'm Nick Jimenez.
And I'm Scott Corelli.
And today on the show, we'll be discussing The Idiot's Lantern, the 10th Doctor's 7th story. Yay.
Oh, and oh, what a story it was.
The year was 1953.
Yes.
The town, London.
So, Mark Gatiss had, he wrote this one, and he's responsible for this. And he had previously, of course, scripted The Unquiet Dead from Series 1, and would go on to script many a Doctor Who in the future. One of the only writers, if not the only writer, who continued from the Russell T Davies era into the Moffat era, Moffat himself notwithstanding.
Might be.
Yeah. So I guess it must be nice to be Mark Gatiss and have friends in high places.
Yeah.
So
he is the head of the bank, the Iron Bank, Scott.
That's true. That is true. So Davies, when he created the treatments for Series 2, he actually presented Gatiss with a historical adventure that he was calling Mr. Sandman, and the idea was that it would take place in the 1950s with an alien intelligence existing within a contagious song. Those infected by the melody would become faceless creatures. That was it. That was the idea. And the song was going to be, I think, Mr. Sandman. So the first thing that happened basically was that Gatiss, was looking at the 50s and was trying to figure out this song idea, but it turned out that the idea of a living song didn't really translate sufficiently into television, which of course is a visual medium. So instead he adapted the concept from a song to television itself. And he decided to change the contagious song to a program that the whole world was watching, or at least England was, which was the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in 1953. Which I just need to point out that Queen Elizabeth became queen 10 years prior to Doctor Who premiering. And she is still queen to this day. Isn't that terrifying. Crazy? That is insane. That is completely insane. Wow. So anyway, yeah. So he was using this event, the coronation, actually did instigate a substantial upsurge in the number of British households that owned television sets. So it seemed like this was like a perfect event to use for the story that he was trying to tell. So that's basically what this was. The idea was that, he wanted to write a story where the TV was sucking people's faces. And he did. That's it. I mean, there's no other interesting bits in this particular story. Like, that's kind of it. He changed it from radio to TV, the coronation of Elizabeth.
Instead of Mr. Sandman.
Did Gatiss write that Sandman one that we all hated from Capaldi's run?
No, I don't think so.
the one where it's just like, oh, it's all a dream or whatever. You know,
yeah,
what I'm
the found footage one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget who
him?
wrote that one. No, I don't think so. Was it?
I don't know.
What was that one called?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I'm
Doctor
looking it
Who
up.
found footage.
That's what I'm searching for as well.
Aw, we're so
Sleep
alike.
No More
Sleep
was the
No
name of
More.
the episode, and it was written by, Mark Gatiss. You're right.
Cass knows.
Cass knew. Came back around.
How did I know?
Don't remember loving that one either. I will say this though.
No, that episode was terrible.
If you put me, if you set this episode in front of me next to Sleep No More or The Curse of the Black Spot, you know what I mean? I'll be.
No. I will take Pirates over this.
Really?
Yes.
See, I think I would pick this over Curse of the Black Spot.
Yeah. No, I'm with Cass on that one.
I'll play Monarch's Advocate on this one.
I don't. This isn't. I don't know that this is quite my least favorite Mark Gatiss episode, but it's down there. It's
the first half of this isn't that bad,
except for the smug. I don't know. I don't think I can quite split it in half. I think my problem with it is like I like the aesthetic of it. Like I like the aesthetic of The Wire, like the are you sitting comfortably, and like that sort of like TV sound was really cool. But then every time that she would say I'm hungry or feed me, I want to blow my brains out. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so annoying. Like it's not scary, Gatiss. It's annoying. Like it's just annoying. That's it.
It's the quintessence of what often doesn't work about this era. As much as we laud it, and it's one of our favorite eras of the show. There's a lot of moments that are very silly when they're supposed to be scary, I think.
Yeah. Also, this plot is just Batman Forever.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
If I was breaking this down, like in 2006, Nick measured his Doctor Who episodes like in three like measurements. It was do I like the setting? Do I like the Doctor and the companion in this episode? And do I like the story?
Yeah.
And I remember in 2006, like this was like 2 out of 3. Where I enjoyed just like the world of like the coronation and everyone getting excited about it and like, oh, this is cool. I don't hate Doctor and Rose in this. They're hot. Let them have fun. I'd probably act that way too if I looked like either of them.
I hate them so much. I think they make my skin crawl. Like just the moment where he like you hear like an engine revving inside the TARDIS and then he comes out in a scooter. I'm just like, dude, like don't act like you're driving a motorcycle, you idiot. Like, I hate it so much. I hate both of them so much. They're so smug. That bit where she tells that guy that only an idiot would hang the Union Jack upside down and then does that stupid smirk thing. Ugh.
I don't know. I really like Rose putting the screws on people in this one. Maybe I just like Billie Piper, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I was into her like capering about.
Oh, I hate this. I hate when they're like extremely smug, and this is like the most smug that they ever are is in this.
Is that, do you think that's the fault of them, or do you think that's the fault of the script or like the director? Because like, Euros Lyn directed this, yes?
Yeah.
And normally I like most of the episodes that he directs, but this is not good.
No, it's not. Yeah, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. I just know that I hate it. I don't know who to blame.
Yeah.
I just hate it.
There's a lot of weird like Dutch angles and like really uncomfortable push-ins on people's faces throughout this whole episode too, and I'm just like, what's happening?
I will say one thing that I will say that I noticed this time, and I think that it's not quite executed properly, because I assume that this is a Euros Lyn thing because this feels like direction to me. But one thing that I did notice that I liked in this that I wish was executed better was the father just being terrified. Like he is so scared of everything that's happening, and the only thing that he knows how to deal with it is by yelling at people, like most ignorant men. like, this is what ignorant men do when they're terrified, is they because he's not smart enough to do anything, so he just yells at people to stop doing things, and he just takes the coward's way out because he's terrified all the time.
Yeah, he exerts power over the few people that he can.
Right. And it's weird to me that, like, there's like this really great moment at the end of the episode where Rose says, "You're clever enough to save the world, so don't stop there."
Oh no, I hate that.
Oh, see, I like that. I don't know. I like that a lot.
I don't know.
Well, like,
I'm like really proud of the.
Yeah, go on, Cass.
I'm like really proud of the wife for like standing up and being like, "Hey, you're trash. Get out." And then like,
but then the episode doesn't present him as trash. They present him as terrified.
I don't know. It's.
He seemed, there were a lot of scenes where like he seemed pretty like, I don't know, like very like bullying, and
because he's an idiot. Like he's an idiot, and he doesn't know how else to deal with the crazy stuff that he's dealing with in this episode. And I'm not saying that he's like actually a good guy. No, he's an angry moron. But I feel like they were presenting him with, like, I feel like the script had nuance there that Euros Lyn just kind of pushed off the table and just told the guy to be a raging lunatic moron.
Where it's like no sane person would try and mend this relationship.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it felt confused, in a way
for sure it felt confused.
that I didn't really like. And not for nothing, but that line of "you're clever enough to save the world, so don't stop there." Watching this right after Father's Day, I couldn't help but draw a line there.
Yeah.
Of like her being like, "Don't let your dad go." Like, I know what that feels like, so just don't. Like, I know he's an ass, but like, you can go and he's still your dad. Like, and I was like, I don't know. Like, maybe it was just the 1-2 punch of those two episodes. And so I was drawing lines that maybe aren't there. I don't know.
And maybe that's why it's Rose who's giving him that advice, because she has her perspective and her relationship with her dad that's informed her philosophy. I do like that it wasn't, no one ever asked the wife to make that. The wife is like, "Get out. I never want to see you again."
Yeah.
And I'm totally fine with that.
For sure. But
because he's got his own stuff that he needs to deal with. But like, that doesn't mean that his son should leave him too.
Yeah, and like, and he's like, and who knows what happens after he carries maybe that's that small kindness that turns him around, that he's able to be like, well, maybe I'll get a job.
Yeah. Spouses don't have to be permanent, right? Like, all things considered, they should be, right? I mean, that's the plan going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's definitely the plan going into it. But they don't have to be permanent. But like your father and a son, like a father and a son, that's permanent. Like it's supposed to be anyway. And so like, I like that she's like, yeah, no, like your mother like rightfully left your father, but he's still your father. Like, you don't get to divorce him. So,
and if he turns out to be like a jerk still, then the son can be like, "No, actually, I don't want you in my life. Forget where I live."
Right. I don't know. I found myself seeing something there that I wish was better executed. And like, I wish
that's
like,
fair.
There were like a couple of instances where it's like, oh man, this guy is just so scared. Like, he's never had to deal with anything like this before. He's terrified.
I guess the scare didn't hit me as much as like him being like a bully.
Yeah, and that's how it's always hit me every other time that I've seen this. It was just this time that I was like, oh man, this guy is he's so ignorant. Like, there was that line where he was like, "You can forget that college things. You'll have to like roll up your sleeves and get some, work with your hands like a man," and like that whole thing. And I was just like, he is so scared of everything changing around him. Mm-hmm. And then there's also this thing that's happening. And like, I don't know, like, I guess I just understood him as like, he's not a good guy. It's just that I saw like a third dimension to him, I guess, this time watching it, that I was like, he's only a bully because he doesn't know what else to do, because he's so freaking terrified of everything.
That makes sense.
Yeah. He's like a scared mongrel or something, like, just like all he's doing is striking out at people, but it's because he feels cornered and he's terrified and he doesn't know what to do, Anyway, that's how I viewed it. And I that was kind of the only thing that was like keeping me holding on during this, because I was like, oh, that's new. I've never noticed that before. That was the only thing that got me through this episode, because, oh man, this episode sucks. It sucks so bad. There's like literally a scene in this that is just ripped off from the Rose episode, where like the doctor is like walking through the room with all the faceless people, and they're all like, they all start like moving toward him, and I'm just like, oh, it's just that scene with the Autons and Rose, where Rose was walking through the room with all the mannequins that she thinks are mannequins, and then they all start coming toward her, and I was like, oh, it's just kind of like the same thing again. I don't know. This episode sucks. and it's that much more. It frustrates me because I really do like the aesthetic of it. Like, I like Magpie Electronics. Like, I think it's like a really cool aesthetic. And I think the idea of a monster using the coronation to like feed on people, I think, is really interesting, but I don't know what the ultimate message of the episode is. Like, I don't think there is one. Like, is the message like, stop watching TV, you idiots?
Which is so weird, because it's a television show.
Right. And then like there's a part where the doctor's like, oh, I love telly, and the son's like, yeah, it's great, and he's like, yeah, you're awesome, kid. It's funny to review this so closely after Father's Day, because that episode was all thesis and had a very clear like thing to say about being alive and humanity, and this is just like a romp. Yeah.
But it's not even fun.
Yeah. No, it's not even fun. And everything that is done in this is done better in other stories. Like using a television event as a sort of like a means to story, or like as a plot point, is used better in the season 6 opening 2-parter with the moon landing. Like that's used better. The doctor climbing a tower to stop a bad guy was used better in the Vampires of Venice. Like,
so what you're saying is Moffat learned from Gaddis's mistakes and just made it better.
Yeah. I think so.
Interesting. Climbing a tower, eh?
Oh man. Anyway, I was anyway, I don't know. I just they're like, just I don't know. Also, the 50s are a weird time in England. It's kind of like this weird, like what, like I don't know, like there's nothing distinctive about the 50s in England. Like they were like the doctor had his like pompadour thing, and Rose had her like not a poodle skirt, and jean jacket. But like those are like, I mean, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but those are definitely American 50s tropes, not England. Like England just feels like just the 40s continued.
Yeah, especially because it's like early 50s still.
Yeah. I feel like the 50s didn't arrive to England until the 60s.
This is when the Beatles were growing up, and they're listening to all that American blues music and riding on the bus. And
yeah, I guess so.
Watch The Crown.
Yeah, The Crown's good.
Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about that while I was watching this.
Oh, yeah.
I just was thinking about The Crown the whole time, and I started thinking, I was like, do you think The Crown will outlast Queen Elizabeth, or do you think Queen Elizabeth will outlive The Crown?
Like a head in the jar, like Futurama?
No, I just mean
legacy.
Like the show.
I just mean the show, The Crown, not the literal crown. I mean the show, The Crown on Netflix.
I'll always be queen.
Well, eventually the Disney Galaxy brain will absorb and erase the Netflix Galaxy brain, and I don't think it would even register the Queen, because that's not an IP. That's.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I was asking a simple question.
And I guess I don't know. The first one, I guess.
I understood. I hope she stays alive out of spite.
Yeah, I hope so too. I love the idea of like her outliving that show, and the show just being like, well, now we don't have an ending, right? Because she never died.
She's like, ha.
It seems like the obvious ending to The Crown is like the coronation of I guess Prince Charles, I guess.
Well, they'll just keep reloading actresses. or maybe they'll bring people back. Maybe they'll come back with old Claire Foy. How metal would that be? They
my God.
they just loop back around.
That'd be crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the show would end with the thought process going into it is probably the coronation of Prince Charles to King Charles, I guess. But Queen Elizabeth would have to die first, and I don't know that she's ever going to. She's still queen.
Yep.
It's been 67 years.
Whoa,
Yeah.
really? 53 to... Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. 67 years. She's still queen. Insane. Anyway, that's all I could think about while watching this, was just like, I wonder which one dies first. Is it the queen or the crown? I don't know.
The bad thing about that, though, is like the episode's already bad, but it's just like, oh, I'd rather be watching The Crown right now. So
Yeah. Extremely true. Extremely true. Anyway, all right. So
oh yeah,
that's the Idiot's Lantern, and I know that you guys like the next episode, but like this is like, huh?
Do we?
I thought you do.
No,
the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit.
Oh, yes. I thought you meant like the next one on our schedule, and I was like,
no, not on our schedule. I'm talking about the next 10th Doctor one. Because for me, this is like a run of like the worst. This is like my least favorite run of episodes, is like starting with Rise of the Cybermen and then all the way through Fear Her, because it's it's like Rise of the Cybermen, Age of Steel, Idiot's Lantern, Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, Love and Monsters, and Fear Her.
Love and Monsters is good right up until the monster shows up.
Yeah, but then it's also like not a Doctor Who episode. You know what I mean? Like it's fine as like a self-standing thing, but like I don't know that it makes a particularly good Doctor Who episode. So it's just like a run of like episodes. This was a very depressing time to be watching this show. So like the only thing that was getting me through it was that I like David Tennant so much. But man, yeah. So anyway,
that's fair.
We're on it for me.
I'm interested to revisit Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, because I did enjoy it last time I watched through Doctor Who like this.
Yeah, I know Nick does too. I'm interested in revisiting it. I'm hoping that I get something more out of it than I have every other time I've watched it. But we'll see, I guess. I don't know. Anyway,
we'll find out.
Yeah. But we won't be talking about that next time. Instead, we're going to be talking about another two-parter, The Hungry Earth and Cold Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Silurian two-parter from Series 5. Chris Chibnall.
I'm looking forward to watching a Chibnall episode after we have a whole season of Chibnall in our pocket.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah.
I like Silurians. They're silly.
Yeah, I like Silurians. I don't like Silurians as much as Moffat likes Silurians, but...
Yeah.
What if a Silurian was a woman in the 1800s? And she had a gang and everyone wondered why we kept returning to them?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway. It's the same actress too. It's a different Silurian, but it's the same actress, isn't it?
I think so.
Playing like Queen of the Silurians in this or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess more on that next time. And we will be back next time with, that Silurian two-parter. Good night and good luck, everyone.
Long live the Silurians.